Okay, this is what we do. Hello, how's it going? Nope. See, sometimes we need false starts. Hello and welcome to Comic Island. My name's Arden, and this is Sabrina.
Hi.
So, we are going to try something different today. In the words of the video title, I exposed my girlfriend to the MCU. And it's not that you hadn't watched any of these. In fact, we did skip some of them that you had watched.
Just watched so many back to back.
Yeah, we caught you up.
Exactly. When you kind of cut yourself off, there's so much to catch up on.
We caught you up to about 25 or so films.
How many we did?
I don't actually know, and it just occurred to me that I don't.
I don't either, which is great. Maybe I should even guess.
It doesn't... Yeah, go ahead, because it doesn't actually say on here. 29. Okay, and then all the Disney Plus shows. And a lot of stuff. But the idea was, because it's part of my life with this comic book thing, we wanted to catch you up a bit.
Well, I like them, too.
Then,
I wanted to see them.
Yeah, and then we were going to do a stream of it, but I realized that I basically, when I was doing a catch-up stream and going through my opinion, I brought you up a lot and how you felt about everything every step of the way. So it's like, oh, why bother repeating ourselves? We had already covered a lot of that on stream. But what we didn't do is do a little social experiment. Is after binging all these movies, going through all of these, how much can you recall? And that's going to be the nature of today's challenge. And I do want to disclose for you, but also just for the audience, this is a lot harder than I think a lot of people would assume. If I were to do this, I don't think I'd be much better off, because it's very easy to think about, oh, I know what happens in Iron Man and the first Avengers movie, but then we can go on and on and on until it's like, what happened in Black Widow? What happened in Eternals? I don't know. You don't know. So we're going to try and see what you come up with, and then it's going to be, because there are already very professionally made, carefully scripted recaps out there, this is going to be the girlfriend version of it, I guess.
You watched this one time, now tell us all about it.
Yeah, and it would be very difficult, and I'm going to make it harder on you by getting you to do like post-credit scenes and your best guess and things, and you can't pass anything. So you have to just do something, and I'm going to put it to...
So even if I don't know, I just...
Yeah, you just have to...
I'm going to figure it out.
Use your imagination and best guess or something. So without further ado, I've talked through a lot of this, but that's because you're going to take over pretty much from here. We're going to go through them. Do you have any questions or anything? Because that might reflect what the audience has.
What order are we going in? Are we going in the order that we saw them? Well, I guess we would have seen them in order, but...
No. They are in different orders. And I was actually considering the chronological order, which is different. We saw it in the publication order.
Yes, yeah.
Which is what we're going to go with.
Okay.
I realize changing the order on you is an extra unnecessary challenge, and I also think it's pointless. Let's get into that for a second, because I see a lot of those lists posted online and stuff about like the chronological MCU, which would start with Captain America, then go into Captain Marvel, and then pretty much go in the original order of the MCU anyways. So I think it just adds to the confusion and creates nothing in the process. The MCU was created in a certain order, and Captain Marvel being second up doesn't help anyone. Well, we didn't. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. Okay, any other questions or anything?
I feel good about this.
All right. Well, we're probably going to do other challenges like this and fun streams in the future, guys. So if you have any ideas for that, let me know. But make sure you subscribe to our channel for more stuff along those lines if you are ever curious. And other than that, let's get started. Okay, so we begin with the very first MCU movie. What is that?
Ever?
Yeah.
Is it the first Iron Man?
That is correct. What happened in Iron Man?
Oh man, we're starting here? Okay. Well, I do remember seeing that around when it came out.
Okay.
So, Iron Man... Oh, okay. Tony Stark is a rich guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got his dad's company, Stark Industries, and I think we, at that point, are like, ooh, they're involved with the military, there's, like, bombs. So, Tony gets like, something blows up. I think something blows up, and there's a bunch of shrapnel around his heart.
Yeah.
And then we have to get it out of there, because he's gonna die if it's not out of there. So then he makes the Iron Man glowing sphere in the middle of the chest thing, and it pulls all the pieces out, and then he's Iron Man. Or no, is he? He at least has the heart thing, but why does he have the suit too? Does he need the suit to maybe power it? Maybe. But why does he become Iron Man? Maybe it is the explosion. Maybe he realizes that he has to save the world from wars that he's also responsible for. But then somebody is a villain who needs to be stopped.
Somebody. Who's the villain?
Oh man, somebody does. Why do I feel like he's Russian? I think he's Russian. There's a Russian villain of some kind. And we're in some Western European country. And
that does happen. Well, okay, you really have to... You kind of have to stretch what Western European is, but I think that works.
Okay. Western, and
it's Western of Europe.
That's what I mean. Western...
No, it's Eastern of Europe. But I guess if you go west far enough...
I'm thinking about... No. I meant to say East.
I thought you said East.
Yeah.
Because I was reacting in a way, yeah.
This is not a geography test. This is a Marvel test.
Afghanistan is
I meant East by, like, Ukraine. We're talking about, like...
Yeah, I would say Afghanistan is pretty Eastern of Europe.
Oh, wait. No. This is the conflict that happens after the war wherein Iron Man gets his glowy heart thing. Not... I know that was in the Middle East. That war where he gets the shrapnel thing happens, didn't give us context. It was in the Middle East. But I thought that the villain later, but I could be confusing that with, like, Iron Man 2.
There's a few different scenes I think you're getting a little confused, but you have a pretty good idea of what happened. So we'll go with that.
We didn't even rewatch this one. I'm digging deep. This is like true. An 8-10-year-old memory.
That is part of the challenge. You probably saw this in 2008.
That's what I mean. Maybe 2010 at the latest.
You approximately 13. So I said at the
half
beginning,
my life
this
ago.
is a challenge.
Quite literally half my life ago.
How does the movie end?
Maybe they're tipping us off to what's going to happen in the next movie? So something happens at the end.
Well, there's the post-credit scene. If I'm talking about the ending, there's a big press conference. What happens?
Oh, does he announce there's going to be more Iron Man?
We're going to go with, well, that's your answer. So
more Iron Man.
There's going to be more Iron Man. And then it goes... Because it plays the Black Sabbath song right at the end.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then there's a post-credit scene. Who shows up?
Oh, Bucky Barnes.
Good enough. And he said, what does Bucky Barnes invite, or what does Bucky want?
Bucky's like, Steve Rogers is actually who shows up. I was not meant to be the one who shows up. It's actually Steve Rogers.
And that's it. That's the first Iron Man movie. Okay, so next up is The Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
You can go ahead while I
Was this the one with Edward Norton?
You are correct. So what happens in The Incredible Hulk?
Oh man. There's a lab. And he gets injected with something. That's where we're starting this off.
Okay.
I don't quite remember what happens before that, and Edward Norton is like, inject me with this stuff. So he gets injected, and it doesn't quite go as planned, and he turns green and all whatever.
Yeah.
He's very powerful and strong, and so to keep tabs on this, he wears this watch that beeps if he shouldn't be.
Oh, that's a good recall. This is one of our rewatch movies.
I liked it. So yeah, he wears his watch and it goes beep
but
beep.
That was a very
beep,
specific memory. That's great.
If his blood pressure's getting too high, which then is when he changes into the Incredible Hulk. So that's going on. But then the government finds out about this and they're like, we want our own Incredible Hulk. So they do it to some other guy, but he already had a lot of anger issues and also the desire to be terrible. So he is probably made for a purpose, but that purpose ends up being to beat up the Hulk because they want to stop him, and they almost do, but then they don't. And there's also this love interest of Liv Tyler. She's married, and we do like the husband.
Yeah.
Even though we're jealous about it.
Okay, so I guess that's the movie. I think you covered all the bases. The villain's been defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember his name by any chance? It's hard because I barely used it.
He was gray. He was not green, he was gray.
He was pretty gray, that is correct. I'll tell you the character's name, I guess. It's
okay.
I don't think that helps with the supervillain name. Why don't you just throw out a guess then? Oh, there he is. Oh, pretty gray.
Is it Grolk?
Grolk. That's
Grolk.
perfect. So Grolk was defeated. Everyone held hands and said, "Hooray!" The credits rolled. What happens in the post-credits scene?
Oh.
I think there's two, but you can just pick one. That's fine. That looks embarrassing to do either, really.
Maybe this is when Steve Rogers shows up.
Oh, Steve Rogers. Okay, so first time it was Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
Now this time it's Steve Rogers. What does Steve Rogers say and to who?
Oh no. No, I think he's probably saying to Banner
Okay.
that... do I want that though?
Oh, so this is just creative writing. But that's okay.
Is that what I want the ending to be? No, I don't think that's what happens. I think somebody else shows up.
So it's still Banner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. No. We're in the lab. And
Banner's in the lab.
We're in the lab and we're trying to recreate this serum, and all this stuff has been messed up because at the end of the last movie we destroyed all that science stuff, but then we figured out it is working and it falls in the wrong hands.
Oh, whose hands are it? Whose wrong hands? Hydra. Okay, perfect. Great. So that's the Incredible Hulk. I'm a little disappointed you forgot the Stanley cameo where a bit of Banner's blood sound gets into that one drink factory and Hulk's out a little bit.
Oh, I love that.
But I guess I snuck it in, so there we go.
There we go. An iconic cameo.
So that's the end of that. Next is our rushed out sequel to Iron Man, Iron Man 2.
Oh, okay.
And Don Cheadle is actually taking over a cast member from someone in Iron Man. Do you remember what role he plays?
No, I mean, I remember he's Gray Iron Man instead of Red and Yellow Iron Man.
Yep.
He's known as Gray Iron Man.
Okay, so what's Iron Man 2 about?
Okay, so we're back at it. They said there was going to be more Iron Man, and there is more Iron Man because there's two of them now. But a new villain presents themselves.
And what's his name? Or her name?
Oh, man.
Oh, no looking at that there. You can look at the poster.
Oh, right. It's that guy. Is it that guy from The Wrestler?
It is. Mickey Rourke.
So the wrestler's here.
The wrestler's here.
And has flames and the things. They're like rope things. They fling around. And
Do you
long
remember
hair.
where he confronts Iron Man?
Ooh, okay. Maybe he's having a conference. Iron Man likes to have meetings and conferences.
He had a press conference at the end of the first movie. So
exactly. We love to have those.
Conference. Mickey Rourke comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Does something.
Yeah, well, he messes the whole thing up. He's got to do that, like, Kool-Aid Man burst through the wall thing, and then we do the, I know that you're Iron Man, because he doesn't hide his identity. We know that Iron Man is Tony Stark and vice versa. It's not always the case, but we do know that.
He reveals that.
Pretty easy to figure out where he's going to be that day, kind of publicize the whole event. So the guy shows up, and it's like, it's on. We're doing this. And I'm gonna threaten. Maybe the missiles. I think are pretty much involved with this. It's all about There's the missiles. There's the Stark technology that we want, and he's gonna get it for mischievous means. Gonna do some bad things. So, maybe no. I think.
You're debating whether or not something's an Iron Man 3.
Yes, no, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, and this is like Age of Ultron, where this piece of ground comes up and comes out of everything. No, it doesn't happen right now.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for this happening in the future. Maybe.
There is one of the post-credit scenes is a full-blown trailer for another movie, so you can just slot that in if you'd like.
These things all just get put together. And then... and there is a showdown that happens. I feel like we're in a tower.
Okay.
Either we're at a prison, maybe, or we're at an airport, or a...
You're just pulling in any movie you can think
No,
of.
no. But I know that there's a fight scene that happens in this dark, rundown place with a tower.
Okay, the dark rundown bit is perfectly fair, because I don't even know where they're fighting in. It's so hard.
It's somewhere so dark and rundown. It's like an industrial fight scene.
Okay. And they're fighting...
Because he's can't be stopped any other way.
Okay.
So
that's not really what I was asking, but that, that works. And great. And then is there a post? Well, there is a post-credits scene.
Okay, and then so it's gonna be Nick Fury. And he's like, I was in the regular movie, but I was already telling you what to do then, and I'm gonna keep telling you what to do now. And it's that there's more bad things on the horizon, including that we might have to avenge some stuff. So we're gonna be the Avengers.
Okay.
In a group. And then Iron Man's like, ooh, I don't know if we should do this. You know, I'm kind of doing my own thing. But then by the end, after he has to fight this villain, and it took a lot out of him, he realizes he does, in fact, need to be an ally with a bunch of other...
Okay, so great. So that's Iron Man 2. Next up is one that we definitely watched together. This is where we really started to get into it. It's the first Thor movie.
Okay, so Natalie Portman and Kat Dennings are scientists. And... they're studying space phenomena, so they're in their van, and they're driving through the desert, and then they see this disturbance in the sky, and boom, this flashlight, and then there's Thor, and then they hit him with the car. And that's pretty concerning, because where did this guy come from? So he shows up, and there's something about him. He's handsome, but there's something off, and we're not really sure if it's either literal amnesia or we're not sure. So we take him with us. We're just going to bring him with us. And he's got this accent that we can't quite place, but he's here for a purpose. And then he's like, wow, I really love Natalie Portman. This is great. I have a little crush on her. Whatever. Ooh. But then I gotta get out of here, so I'm gonna have to, summon all these things. He's bringing up all these concepts. He's bringing up... Exactly. He's got his hammer, he's talking about the Bifrost, he's talking about, jumping off this planet, he's a god, all this stuff. He's kind of rude too, but we're not sure if this is just a cultural difference, and it kind of seems to be, but what culture does he come from? We can't quite put our finger on it.
It's a big mystery.
It's a big mystery for a little bit. I think he bounces. Pretty sure he leaves, and he goes back to...
Oh, interesting.
He goes back to...
somewhere.
Asgard.
There you go.
Yeah, we go to Asgard, and our mischievous brother is there, Loki, and we also say hi to... what's gonna come to me? Talking about his son in the most recent movie with Thor. Heimdall. Heimdall's there, and he guards the Bifrost, so we got a big sword that also helps.
What's the Bifrost?
A rainbow bridge.
Yeah.
It's the Rainbow Road. And it connects pretty much anywhere we want. So there's a few places it connects to that we know that always connects to, that are kind of always open, but then we can also make special trips seemingly wherever we want, including the middle of the desert in front of Natalie Portman's van. Anyway. All the time, but then also wherever we want conveniently, and Heimdall sees and knows all somehow. So anywhere you are, I think, when you call him, he definitely knows, but there's some things he just seems to know anyway, because he's always watching everything. But anyway, say hi to Heimdall, go see Mom and Dad, which is Odin and Mom, and she seems pretty badass, but I completely forget her name.
That's okay, they barely say it.
And then Dad, we remember because he seems to be in his Odin sleep half the time. So we've learned about the Odin sleep. He
gets so tired.
He gets so tired he got Odin sleep. So he's doing that. And then maybe he wakes up and we're talking about it, and then...
Anthony Hopkins is pretty old, so, we gotta go to our shows.
Right? So he's gotta sleep, and he's not always available to be helpful, but sometimes he conveniently is. So then we're learning about Loki's backstory.
I don't think we talked much about Loki. Who's Loki?
So Loki's his brother, who's mischievous. and can seemingly shapeshift, but also has a lot of other tricks up his sleeve. Sometimes they like each other, sometimes they don't. Thor likes to fight a bunch, Loki likes to do more swindling stuff. So, he's a swindler. So, they do mischievous stuff together, they've got a couple bits, but they do like to do their own stuff and they don't always get along. So, then there's this villain that's coming along too. And they've got a cube that's red.
Okay.
And also, it might be a stone, an infinity stone that powers it, but it could also just be a cosmic power. We're not really sure yet, but it is red, so it could be a red stone. We're not sure.
I'm not sure what an infinity stone is, but to be fair, they just sort of dropped that now. Maybe we'll learn more about that later.
That's true, exactly. So
yeah, that's how they do it in the movie.
So it's red, and then we end up there, and
sorry, where?
Wherever it is. We don't even know where it is. It's in space. We're in space with the red cube. And Natalie Portman's intrigued.
Oh, she's into it.
She is into it. I mean, maybe it's even calling to her. It really just does seem to have this energy that draws you in. That she gets a little too drawn in. Turns out, maybe it's the space version of radioactive, so we shouldn't have been around this thing, and now it's affecting us in our body, and we're also not a god, and it seems like everyone else is that we've met and talked about recently. So she, instead of being on Earth, is then in Asgard. Well, Thor
villain?
brings her.
Is the red cube the villain? Is that the idea?
Oh.
Because you said a villain is not.
There's the cube. Yeah. There's somebody who's a villain out there.
Oh, wow.
I think he's wearing a hood. There's a hood. Could be one of those death people that hang out places. We've got a kind of ghostly figure. Maybe they've got some really intense eyeliner face paint going on or something.
Okay. And he's got a red cube, and it's intrigued Natalie Portman. She's gone to Asgard.
And she's sick and at Asgard, exactly. But we can't ask Odin for help because he's sleeping again, so Mom...
Again. So he's been up and down twice now.
It doesn't seem to have any sort of pattern to it. He's just like, oh, really tired now, going back. Like, I think he's faking it a little bit. Like, I think he's kind of making this convenient. Maybe he's not ready for Thor to be with Natalie Portman. I don't know. So then she gets better, but only after something big happens. She does get better. They do something. We do see it happen. And she gets better.
I mean, it really could be anyone. Like you said, they're all gods and stuff, so...
Some sort of godly power is evoked, and she's better. But then he just dumps her back on Earth. She's all better, and he's like, well, that's over. So he plops her down there and doesn't confess his true feelings. And she just thinks he's being aloof like human men. So then she's like, well, I'm going to forget him too. I'm going to play hard to get. So then Kat Dennings is like, nah, you should do something, but she doesn't want to talk about it. So she just goes back to being a scientist, except S.H.I.E.L.D. and the CIA take all of their stuff for science. Science research gets taken, they put in a van, that's her life's work, stolen away. So now there's a new mission. And Bootstrap Bill and Kat Dennings and Natalie Portman all
I feel like there's
band
a
together.
Scene, right?
Right, because I think we wrap up with Thor, and then we're flashing back to Earth and getting caught up on what Natalie Portman's doing, which is getting back to Earth, forgetting about Thor, or trying to, and getting all of your stuff stolen by the government and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Are these just nameless government goons, or anyone know?
I thought it was S.H.I.E.L.D., but maybe
it's
that one guy
who's...
He works at... I definitely know he talks to Nick Fury sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So that guy. That guy is the one who does it.
Do you want to guess him? Might as well, because we have to refer to him later, I assume.
Okay, so this is going to be Mark from head office.
Mark from the head office, okay.
Yes.
Oh, great. Alright, so that's the first Thor movie. And next up would be Captain America, the first Avenger. So what happens in Captain America?
So, to tell this story, we must go a little bit back in time to World War II.
Great. Do you want to throw it a year?
1932.
Okay.
So that's when that happened. And we're there, and we're on an army base in the United States. And nothing's happening yet, because now we have to flash back to a conscription stand, where we conscript one Sebastian Stan, who is good friends with Chris Evans. And they're hanging out, and they're like, you know what we should do? We should join the army. And it's really hard because Chris Evans is not, as we all know, Chris Evans isn't very attractive, but Sebastian Stan is. So,
in this movie, you're not wrong. I don't know if you're...
In real life,
Okay, so I was going to say, I don't know if you're referring to the events of this movie or...
No, I just had to say it. But, no, they're both very handsome. But, for the sake of this story, nobody could ever possibly be attracted to Chris Evans the way he is, supposedly. Even though everybody can be interested in anything. But he really is just feeling like, yeah, he's got such a hard lot in life that if only he was a little taller and a little more buff, all his problems might go away. So we go to the army because maybe that'll help. But we're still not quite as buff as we want to be, despite the grueling basic training. So then we think, what are some other solutions here? And science really comes through and says, I have one. And it's making you a super soldier for the army to defend your country's son. So...
Science is saying? Scientists?
There's scientists there, exactly, on the army base. And they've come up with a way to make him a super soldier. So he's going to be super strong, and it's totally safe. We're just going to strap you into this chair and inject it into you, and you will be very strong and also taller. Maybe. We're not sure what's going to happen, but we sure hope so. So we go to do that, and we inject him, and it's actually very painful and scary, and we wonder if he's going to be okay, but he is. And well, don't you know it, he is taller and buff and good looking. Like, wow. So, and Peggy, who works there in the science lab, is like, he is good looking. And I noticed that before, and I still liked him, even when he was slightly shorter, but now I'm still interested. But now he has a duty to his people, because, we gotta do army stuff now. But we aren't actually going to send you to the war because we want to show you off first. So now you're actually just going to be doing this song and dance show at a bunch of different army bases for the purpose of morale, and you're not actually going to be doing any of that army stuff. So put on this cute little outfit. We got your Captain America cadets here in cute outfits too, and they're going to also do a dance. We're all just going to dance and sing. Everyone's going to love it. Put on your little, you got your pretty shield, and you got your hat, you got your cap, that's great. Except, where is our friend? Where is Bucky Barnes?
Where did Bucky go?
Where is the Bucky Barnes to my Steve Rogers? Well, he's actually trapped in this warehouse type, actually they're walking into a death trap.
Holy crap, I forgot about that.
And they're walking into that death trap, and we are actually just going to let them do it because we don't have cell phones and we don't have pigeons. So there's no way to tell them to not do that. So they're just going to do it because who could possibly save the day? And he goes, well, Captain America could save the day. And that's what a Captain America like Steve Rogers would do. So he's going to go and he's going to save his best friend, Bucky Barnes.
Okay, so Captain America goes to save Bucky Barnes. Who tells him to do that?
Nobody. They actually advise against it. He tells the
himself.
Generals are like, this is how, because he's like, where's my friend Bucky? And they're like, oh, he's at this thing. This is the generals that are saying this. And they're like, don't leave, because we need you, Captain America, to do our little show pony stuff. And he's like, no, the right thing to do is to save my friend, Bucky Barnes. So he's got to go do that, and he's running for quite a while, and there's a big distance. We got several 100 kilometers to cover to get to where Bucky is, but we get there, and sure enough, they're walking into a trap, and the Red Skull shows up. And who is this but an angry Hydra / Nazi? And seems a little bit synonymous at times during the movie. So we've, Hydra, which we've found out through the course of a few telling glances into this world throughout the movie,
You're
is that...
at this world building now.
Thank
I had to,
you.
Cue it up for the first two, but now you got it down pat.
Well, don't gas me up too much, but we got... So then, we've seen in a few telling glances that they've been doing science stuff, and maybe some of the scientists at numerous places aren't so good, and also we're supposed to be fighting the Nazis, but they're also infiltrating us via science, and there's a little bit of, Aryan, what's that word for, eugenics? Eugenics is happening.
There's eugenics all over the place.
There is. Unfortunately, there's a few of those happening, of some looking into how that would work, and it's not good, and so we're doing that. And this guy is involved in that. So this guy, we're not sure if he's called the Red Skull yet, but he's gonna be, because there's a burning incident that happens. I think there's a fire that gets lit.
Oh my god, he gets burned.
And he gets burned, and he loses his face, and he looks like a skull, but it's not white, it's red, and so he's the Red Skull. And he's still evil, and he's still a Nazi, but he's also got no nose, and he's a Red Skull. And he has it out for Captain America because he represents not Nazism, and we don't want that, so we can't have that, so we gotta fight it out. But Captain America's gotta save all these people first, so he's saving all the people, and we haven't found Bucky yet, though, but...
Oh, Bucky's still gone.
We can't find Bucky yet. Yeah, he gets... We're not really sure where he is. Oh no. Bucky's gone. We can't find him. We save all these people. We fight the Red Skull. The Red Skull's ambiguously defeated. We're like, he seemed kind of dead, but nobody really checked, and we didn't bring the body, and we didn't shoot him in the head just to be sure. So
nice.
he's kind of hanging out. So he's out there, but we're pretty sure the enemy is defeated for now. But we don't really know where Bucky is, and I think he's been.
Oh, you're checking off your bases because you're remembering.
I think he's taken away.
So Bucky's gone. He's taken away.
He's been taken away by somebody, and we're kind of worried that it is those Nazi people. Not the Red Skull, but the guy involved with them. So all these other Hydra scientists, including a scientist who's short with round glasses and a really heavy German accent. So maybe he's involved. We're not really sure, but we haven't found Bucky. So it's kind of a toss-up. We kind of won the war, lost the battle kind of thing. So everybody is saved. And Captain America's like, no more of this show business. I need to get down to business because there is a common enemy to unite behind here. Yeah, and then everything seems okay for right now, but this is uncertain future of what might happen in the future as we close off the movie. And then there's the credits, post-credits, because any good Marvel fan is at that point, we know to just sit and wait until credits are done, and then it's going to come up. You're foolish if you're going to leave before that, because then Nick Fury himself once again shows up in post-credit. And he's like, oh, right, so, right. So, I forgot to say that, things were good until they weren't, because we were in love, and we're like, wow, Peggy, this is going great. We should probably be together, that'd be nice. I'm just gonna take a quick flight. And then he gets on the flight, and then they have a bit of an engine problem. and so those cross-Atlantic flights are...
They're dangerous.
They're dangerous when your engines fail, right?
In the middle of the Arctic.
You could if you were in a plane, and then, so we go into the water, but it turns out the water is actually the Arctic, so then we're in the ice. We thought it was just water, but it is ice, and ice freezes you, and can also maintain you as a perfect specimen for a very long time.
Yeah, I don't understand how someone could survive the ice for 80 years, but I don't think that one's on you, actually, so that's okay.
Yep, I think he just... well, if you're a super soldier, he just...
Oh.
He's a super soldier, so he freezes, and it's like, oh man, Peggy's not here.
We'll make a screenwriter out of you yet.
So then Peggy's there. Bummed.
Nick Fury is there, you established that.
Yeah, so Nick Fury exists in the future. So we're frozen the ice. Nick Fury is born as a baby. Then he lives a life and becomes an adult. And then we find the ice that Captain America's
in.
in.
This is a long post-credit scene, but okay.
So Nick Fury's there, and he's like, man, if only we could get Captain America out of this ice, we could really bring a team together.
Oh.
So we gotta figure that out, but if we could figure that out, then maybe we would be able to have a team, is what he says.
A team of superheroes known as... And then it goes on to the next movie, which is The Avengers!
Oh, The Avengers. Oh, no.
Starring Mark Ruffalo.
Right.
Once again, taking the role of someone else. But you know that. It's the
Avengers.
Oh, okay.
No, what?
who's Mark Ruffalo playing? I know you know.
Oh,
this.
The Hulk.
Yes, great, okay. What happens in The Avengers?
So, pretty early on, we do find the block of ice that Captain America is in, and we decide to revive him. But like I said before, he is a super soldier, so luckily he's doesn't. Fine. He's actually totally fine. We just thaw him out. He's good, but he is really sad to learn that Peggy has now lived her whole life and is in her 90s and also in the hospital. I think let's say she's actually in a hospice, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
So he visits her, and, they reconnect, and it's just like old times, but he really does mourn that lost time, but there's nothing he can do, because what are you going to do? It's sad, exactly. So we all cry for a bit, but there's work to be done. So we gotta have Nick Fury come in and be like, so we're in this glass building, it's pretty swanky in here because this is S.H.I.E.L.D., and we do some cool stuff, including what Iron Man has to offer, and Iron Man walks in. And, so does...
Sorry, you just said, what kind, like...
We're assembling.
No, but you said a glass building. Is it, elaborate
okay, so we're in the city, and it's a pretty minimalist design, kind of glass walls, very industrial,
I guess I'm looking
concrete.
For a name of the building or something.
S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's where we're at.
Nice.
S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters. So what is S.H.I.E.L.D.? We don't know, because Iron Man walked in, and then we got Captain America. What is S.H.I.E.L.D.? So then Nick Fury's like, I've assembled this team, and there's, a lot of enemies that we need to unite against. As you've seen Iron Man, and he nods, and like Captain America's like, oh, I've seen enemies, and he's like nodding along. So we all understand, and then a doctor comes in, and he's like, hey, I'm Dr. Bruce Banner, and we're like, oh cool, shit. We could always use a doctor, and he's like, no, I'm not just a doctor, I can get angry. When he gets angry, he's a real asset to the team, but he's working on that. So now we are like, oh right, because we met in the post-credits scene before. We don't acknowledge that Mark Ruffalo and Edward Norton are different people. It's the same timeline. We're just keeping it rolling.
Never.
Iron Man acts as though he's met Banner, even though he's actually only met whatever. It's the same guy, as far as we're concerned. And Hawkeye and Natasha Romanoff are kind of there, but they have like a quick walkthrough. They're not really super down to socialize, so they kind of are like, yeah, here we are, but then like it's not a huge deal. And then Thor, he's kind of hard to pin down sometimes, so I don't even know that he's here yet, but there's definitely a uniting that's occurring here. There's an assembly occurring. So they're all together. And just like that, like we said, there's all these common enemies. Well, the enemy today is aliens. So there's this hole that opens up. Somebody's in charge of this. Ooh, there's a hole, and it's very similar to the Bifrost. It's kind of like the Bifrost. So and then Loki shows up, Thor's brother.
Whoa. And was the mischievous brother from the first Thor movie. He's
very mischievous, and the mischief today is that he wants to enslave the human race. So we've got our scepter.
That feels like an escalation from the buddy in the first Thor movie, but go on.
So yeah, the mischief can be pretty intense sometimes, pretty catastrophic. It's not always funny haha mischief, it's like...
Sorry, where is this hole you referred to it?
In the sky.
Yeah, just in the sky?
There's a hole in the sky. I think, so let's say there's a small hole, we jump through it, we come in, and then we're on Earth, and then we close the hole. And then we're on Earth.
Okay. And it just is anywhere in Earth's sky? Or...
New York City.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We're in New York City. Well, if you want the most people in terms of population density, obviously you go to New York City.
Yeah. That's
to
right.
then jump through the sky.
We kind of needed to establish
No, you're right.
a location. I suppose we
do.
hadn't up until now, but it felt relevant.
You're right. We need a location. So we're in New York City.
Could have been an Asgard.
Loki shows up. Odin's probably sleeping again, so he doesn't even know what's going on. And nobody's.
God, Odin sleeping.
If he's Odin sleeping, then nobody's keeping tabs on Loki.
Oh.
So he's here and he's starting to do this, and he's got the scepter, and we're like, but doesn't it seem like he's got more power than usual? It does. So then we're gonna flash back, and it actually turns out that we went somewhere in space, and there's this location that is housing the blue cube. It's a blue glowing cube, and I think we're gonna call it the Tesseract. I think that's what it is. That's what Loki's like, yep, that's what this is. And he takes it, and we've got it, and there's powers.
Okay, I'm gonna help you out and make a connection you already hinting at earlier. But this is I assume a similar device to the Infinity Stone from earlier.
Ooh.
The evil red cube.
Yep, I mean there is a glowing aspect that's happening here. That glowed, this glowed.
I would assume that there's a
same colors, right? Yep.
Because I understand there's world building in the MCU of some
That
kind.
is true. Well, and also, yeah, I mean that glowed in like a red and was a cube. This is going blue and it's a cube. It really does seem like there's something going on here. Okay, so we've got the red. Yeah, we've got the red cube that existed before that went into Natalie.
Oh, this will be good. So we're keeping track of them too. So far we got red, blue.
Yes, okay, so we got the red and the blue.
I'm sure we'll get through all of them by the time we get to Infinity War, even though Marvel did not.
Oh my god. So, here we are, we've got this blue thing. Turns out we can actually use that power with our scepter too. Makes it extra potent. So not only have we got our cool Loki powers of transforming, but we can also control a bunch of people. So now they can all kneel in Times Square. Everybody's going to kneel to him. This is pre-COVID, so it's pretty busy in there. There's a lot of people, and we're all kneeling down. So this isn't okay, because we can't be taking charge of all these people. Right. So who are we going to call in? His brother. So Loki's going to show up, and then Thor's going to show up after and be like, hey, I know what's going on here, and you can't be doing that. But now Loki's got the blue thing, the glowing blue thing, so he's in charge. So he can't be stopped without some sort of team united against him. But then he really doesn't want to give this thing back, and so he makes a hole in the sky between dimensions on the top of New York City, you know, in the air, just floating in there. They've got this giant hole. I'd say at least probably 100 feet across. Let's say 100 foot across, nice oval-shaped hole in the fabric of space and time. And lots of things could jump through there, including but not limited to mechanical alien ships that move kind of the way that whales move.
Right.
So we've got these giant...
Wow, that's awesome.
We've got these giant whale ships coming through it, and it's probably not for the best.
What are the aliens called?
Shoot. Oh. Gray aliens? They're gray.
They can be the grays.
They could be the grays, yeah. Well, I don't know that we have a ton to go off of at this point of, you know, I'm just living here in New York City.
I wonder if that's just like background information.
We haven't seen any aliens
in the movie. So maybe they're just called aliens, and it's just something that like I know from.
I think we just understand them
notes.
As aliens.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that we ever have a name for them because they're just coming. We don't have a lot of time to react either. They're coming through now, and there's going to be more, and they're just flowing in here. So until we close this hole, like in the screen door of our universe, like there's going to be more coming in. Exactly. So then we got to assemble. The Avengers then assemble, and we're all assembled. And we're like, wow, that kind of works as a phrase. Let's use that more. So the Avengers assemble, and that includes Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Nick Fury's kind of on the ground, and he's hanging out. And sometimes he's in the building, and we're not really sure where he is, but it seems like he's kind of calling some shots. But either way, we know we got to take these aliens down, because they're blowing holes in the sides of these New York City buildings, including these whale-like, gigantic alien ships that are a little unsettling. So, and Loki's just fine with all this going down. So then Hawkeye's getting out his arrows, and he's using all these special ones to bring these ships down, and, you know, Captain America's doing it, and we're all fighting together. Then Hulk picks up Loki and beats him around and just slaps him on the ground, and everybody thinks it's hilarious. And then somehow that hole just closes up. We use science and the power of friendship, and we close that hole up in the sky, and then Loki has now quite literally been beaten into submission, and he's like, cool, this is good. I will not do this anymore, and then we take the blue glowing thing, and then he just kind of leaves. He just leaves, and we let him leave.
Look, he just
pieces out, and then peace has been restored. New York City is destroyed, but we don't considerably... It's there's a lot of damage that's been happening. Not completely destroyed. I would just say there's a lot of destruction that occurred on a scale that we never previously had seen before. And also there were aliens, and that really shakes everybody's worldview.
Right, that's a big deal.
So we didn't know that aliens were a thing. So the aliens are there, but they're not anymore.
Yeah,
and then we're all standing in the rubble, and we're like, yep, okay, that was cool. And then I think we go get shawarma, because that feels right.
Is that the post-credit scene?
Might be. It might be. I think that we might end with rubble, and then we re-pick up in the rubble, and then there's the shawarma that we have, maybe.
Nice. Well, that's a fun ending.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I was gonna do the whole thing with you, but that's the end of phase 1, and we've been recording for almost an hour, so that might actually be a good place to cut it off for now. Maybe we'll be back with number 2.
Love that.
So,
wait, are we doing the end bit?
Yeah, but
my hair's up.
Oh, that's fine. You were just putting it up while we were recording, but thanks for doing that with us, Sabrina. There's a lot of interesting details to what you did there, but we'll leave it for now. I don't want to give away too much, but you did surprisingly well in other regards, and
thanks.
recalled scenes with shocking amounts of accuracy. It was pretty funny, and then just other stuff is not. So it's great.
Go on.
People will have a good time with that. So thanks for doing that, and we'll see you guys next time on Comic Island. I'm also way out of frame on this, but that's fine.
Do you want to redo it?
No.